Hi guys, thanks for joining us. It is Kara with Today's Living as well as the bag holder, and we are on our 12 days of cookies, and today's cookie is what we call a hodgepodge cookie. You may have heard of it as a cornflake cookie. It puts all these great ingredients together and they're crisp and chewy and caramelly and so good. So let's get to the ingredients. We're going to do a cup of brown sugar, a cup of white sugar, 2 cups flour, 3/4 cups of Quaker Oats, not instant. We're going to do a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 cup of chocolate chips, 1 cup of softened butter, not melted, just softened, a teaspoon and a half, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we have 2 cups of cornflakes. Make sure they're crisp and you don't need to crush them. And then 2 eggs and a splash of salt, which is optional. We added a splash, meaning 1/4 teaspoon. We're just gonna pour it and zip it. So let's get making. Let's go. We've got our bag, of course, on the bag holder, which is, you know, how I do everything. And I've got my 1 cup of butter, softened, not melted. We're gonna go ahead and add our brown sugar. Let's do a cup of that. And you want to make sure it's firmly packed. That's what makes it have this great like caramel flavor in these cookies. It is yum, yum, yum. But you don't need any more. You just want to make sure it's firmly packed. That. We'll do a cup of regular sugar. Just like this. I should have had these open. I'm actually eating Chinese as we're talking. We just got back from New York. Go check out the videos of this great concert we saw with Tony Bennett and Justin Bieber. Fantastic. All right, so we've got a cup of regular sugar. Let's do 2 cups of the flour. But anyways, the concert was fantastic. I don't know if you're like me. I love New York. I think I could thrive there. But you gotta find a job. I was talking to the Lego girl and she makes $11 an hour and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how can you pay for a $4 burger at $11 an hour? But I met so many neat people. Love Central Park. I wish they had like a hostel in Central Park and then I could just pay $25 a night and live there. Okay, so we're doing 2 cups of flour. Sorry about that, got sidetracked. Excellent. And let me move this out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and do the 2 cups of corn flakes, might as well. Again, these are crispy. I have to tell you, it has been probably 6 months since I've made this. It's the holidays, as you can see. And these I store in a bag. You know, I store all cereal once we open it in a bag. And it is still, hear that? Crisp. I bet you can't say that about any cereal that you store in the container it comes in. After even just 3 or 4 weeks, it gets gross. All right, so let's do the little stuff. We're gonna do cinnamon. I always open it over whatever bowl or bag you're using so that it doesn't make a mess. We're doing about a teaspoon of this. Now, I'm using a 1.5 teaspoon. It's basically a half a tablespoon. But I'm using that because the others call for it. So just don't fill it. Whatever you use, it doesn't have to be precise with these. If you like cinnamon, add a smidge more. If you don't like cinnamon, don't even add it. That's one of the things that's optional. Everything else is a must. Okay, we're gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Let's do 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Perfect. We're gonna do a half a teaspoon, so I'm just gonna fill this like a smidge. A half a teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Again, this one's optional as well. We just like the way it works with the recipe. Now we're gonna do a cup of, 3/4 cup of oatmeal. Is that right? We'll dump that. You see, I can just keep filling and filling because when I take it off the bag holder, it's still gonna be plenty of space. We're gonna do about a cup of chocolate chips, and you can save those for one of the other recipes. Go check it out. We're doing like the 12 days of cookies, and all I need now, 1 egg. Oh, you gotta get that out of there. Come on, little bugger. Good, good, good. 2 eggs. And then just rinse your hands. While I washed my hands, I decided to just clean up my mess quickly. That's how fast it is. And the only dishes I have are right here. You can just, and nothing ever spills when I'm using a bag in the bag holder. But let's take it out. You want to seal it up. That's the biggest, that is the hardest thing you have to do, is seal the bag. And now we're going to start mixing it. You don't want to smush and smash the corn flakes. That's not really necessary. I mean, you can, it's not going to change the flavor. But I like them big and crisp because they still add a nice crunch to the cookie. So I don't really smush, I more mix. You see how I just kind of knead it, just like you were kneading dough, and you see how it starts to blend really quickly. So I'm going to do this for a couple minutes until it's all blended. I've mixed it up. It took me about 3 to 4 minutes, probably a little longer than necessary, but like I said, I'm eating Chinese and I needed to take a pit stop. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the bag right back on the holder, or you're just going to put your bowl, grab a scoop. This is one of those great cookie scoops. I love it. It measures it out perfectly. And we're just going to start to measure it about big tablespoonful, really. Heaping tablespoonful. Just going to go right across. Now let me tell you, we are going to bake these, because you don't need to watch me do this. But we're going to bake these at 375, that's right, for about 8 to 11 minutes. Kind of an odd number. But you don't want them so crisp. And you don't want them so chewy. So it's kind of halfway in between. But either way, the flavor is going to be phenomenal. So just go ahead and put these on your tray. I'm going to pop them in the oven, and I will show you as soon as they are finished what they look like. Show you something, and this is optional, but it does give them a nice little shine, a little added extra sugar flavor. So what I'm doing is I'm putting some sugar. You can do this in a dish. You know, I try to minimize my steps. So I'm putting it in the same measuring cup that I used. And then I'm going to put the bottom of a glass, just press it down on one of the cookies, just gently. So it gets the oil, the butter that was there. So it gets that, and then I'm going to push it in here. You can see. And then put it right back on. And once you start to do this, it's pretty quick. You don't need to go back and forth. Just keep going in. Push it down. That way these cookies do not spread very much. So they'll basically stay about this size, and they'll be very uniform. You can see. I'm going to do these pressed and these not, so you can see the difference. But it's just another added touch that you can do to these wonderful cookies. They just came out, and you can see they look so yummy. I'm going to give you a close-up. But you cannot even tell which side was the side that we put the sugar on. This is it, and these are the ones that we did not put the sugar. So they're going to look similar. They don't spread out too much, but these just have a nice golden color and a shine. And when we bite into it, it just gives it a sweeter flavor. So these are our cookies, our hodgepodge cookies, or cornflake cookies. We hope you love them. It's a great recipe. It really is. And we'll see you real soon. Now visit us again at todaysliving.net for more recipes every day. See you soon. Take care.